Hello, and welcome to Book Wars Pod.
Wait, I missed it. Why is Kate losing her shit right now? I was looking at my dog.
Because Miranda fell straight to the microphone.
I was trying to do it quietly before the...
Into a microphone?
Listen.
You have a mute function.
But I had to bring us in because this is Book Wars Pod episode 162.
Famously, the mute button is permanent.
Oh my god.
Listen,
We don't have intro music.
I wanted to do it before all the intro stuff started so that it wouldn't make it onto the pod, and
Mute.
Mission
That's
accomplished.
Cool. This is Burb's character, you know?
Everything's under control. Situation normal.
Listen, this is what we get for volunteering Burb to bring us in.
You really asked for it. This is like I said, episode 162. It is our second episode on Star Wars Visions Ronin, or Ronin, a Visions novel by Emma Mieko Candon.
Lovely.
Question mark? Okay.
You're doing great.
Allegedly, we read through chapter 12 last time.
I guess you weren't here last time, so fair enough.
I wasn't here. I tried to be here, but I got back from vacation and my computer decided to not turn on that night. So that was fun. But that does mean that this time we are covering chapters 13 through 28. Also, as you maybe have heard already, depending on how much of my intro gets cut, the whole gang is here. We've got
Whoop whoop.
I'm joined by Rana, Chris, Kate, Kristen, and some people are drinking stuff.
Correct. Some of us are in fact drinking stuff.
Are you asking us what we're drinking, or are you just
Kate,
letting
what are
folks know?
Well, I was gonna
Really
say
just more
it,
of a
and then
statement than a question.
It was
I
more of
didn't
a
think we were all
statement.
drunk, but maybe.
I have a beer, and this is just the Last Beautiful Town pod came to visit in September and bought like a shit whack of beer, and this is still in our fridge from September. Survived the move. So this is from True Brewing. It's called Blood Axe. It's a Nordic farmhouse ale, and what is it telling me? Orange peel, grains of paradise. I don't know how to read that. Beer.
Just so everyone knows, those cans are incredibly beautiful. Like I was with Jess when she chose that, and I mispronounced the very easy to pronounce name because apparently I don't know the difference between a U and a V. But also, the art on them is phenomenal.
I will take a picture for Burby
Take
to
a
slap
picture,
on
please,
the
for
gram.
the gram.
Yes,
We can
I
put
will.
it on the gram.
Yeah, this is very weedy and but also really sweet at the same time. This is fascinating. Anyway,
Cool.
Beer.
I can go next because I also have I was gonna say a blood drink, but it's not blood.
Jesus Christ.
I was gonna have a blood drink tonight, but
What is this, the Harry Potter video game?
Wow. Yeah, life isn't quite that desperate that I'm drinking blood, but we'll see. If it helps with my skin, we'll try it.
Supposed to put on your face, Rana. What are you doing?
Maybe both. You don't know how messy I am. This is a blood orange lager. It's not blood, thankfully. I would not choose a blood lager, although I'm sure someone at Great American Beer Festival has made one. Something I'm sure the witch from this book would drink. Not this blood orange lager, but a blood drink of some sort.
Indeed.
Anyways, this is by a company I've never heard of called Walters because I saw blood orange and said, cool, and put it in my basket without looking at any other information. It's a lager with blood orange and natural flavors. It has a very boring can, definitely designed by a white person. I mean, people of color can be boring too, but like this just screams like old white man. And it's canned in Pueblo, Colorado. And there's really very little other information. Oh, Colorado mountain water. Hopefully it was filtered. Noble hops. Yep. It says the brewing tradition of the American West. Maybe I'm committing a hate crime against myself. Anyways, that's
Does
my
the
drink.
American West have a strong brewing tradition?
I
that
don't
thing?
know.
Say that to Mr. Coors.
Course doesn't even live here anymore. I don't want to.
It's
Fuck
fine.
off.
Do we have visual proof that Rana's beer is as cold as the Rockies? I don't think so.
I can guarantee it's not because it's been out on my desk for 2 hours before opening. So
Yum.
That can is not blue.
it's blood
True.
red.
like blood
Okay.
for your blood.
Not blood
truth.
orange.
Thank
Blood
you for
orange red, thank you.
Thank you for talking about blood beer because I just had like a recovered memory of drinking this
Oh, no.
beer
Oh
that
my God.
has, I thought, blood or something in it, and I looked it up on Untapped and it's real. So,
fuck?
Is it like when they
Now
make
I'm
blood
gonna
sausage type
I'm
of
gonna
blood?
explain it to you now. It's
Please.
called Silence of the Lambs by Burnside Brewing Company, which is
my
out of
God.
business. It's a dry Irish
I
stout.
can see why.
It has lamb hearts in it, so
Okay.
that
Huh.
was
They're
why.
committing way too hard to the bit.
Well, it was like a Silence of the Lambs has one untraditional ingredients. Untraditional is not a word. Brewed in collaboration with Portland's darkest pop folk band Big Haunt, this stout was inspired by the macabre nature of the group's music.
This sounds like it came out in October and then was quickly discontinued.
Mm.
It was many years ago that I had this, and I have no idea how I remembered that I had this. But
Can I just
there you
ask,
go.
like,
I'm
not a
drinking water,
judgment.
but there's your interesting beer fact of the week from
So
me.
what like prompted you to be like, ooh, lamb heart beer, my fave?
I wanted to try it.
That's okay. That's fair. I guess I've tried a lot of weird shit in my life.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's weird. Let me try.
All right. Was it good? Do you remember?
I mean, their beer wasn't that good anyway, but it was okay. I was like, this doesn't taste like it has lamb hearts in it. It just tastes like an okay stout.
I
That
was
is,
gonna
like,
say, what were the
whatever.
flavor notes?
I don't remember.
Death.
But I don't remember. Yeah, I feel like it had some like depth of flavor, but other than that, like no.
Just
Blood.
salty with a hint of moldering corpse.
Right?
The starch of a straitjacket.
Miranda, do you have beer today?
Beer
do
that
not
oddly
have-
tastes like a nice Chianti with some fava beans.
Nice.
Good one.
Okay, Chris. I do not have a beer tonight, though I also almost had a blood drink as well. I juiced.
What the fuck is going? No, what is going on?
There's a theme.
I juiced some
Welcome
blood
to
oranges.
Blood Wars pod.
I juiced some blood oranges today to make like a blood orange margarita, but then I had a can of wine and didn't feel like having tequila tonight also. So I am drinking a Polar premium seltzer, naturally calorie free, ginger lime mule flavored.
I have a
Mhm.
whole box
Blood
of
flavor.
those.
I just bought it today. It was on
Blood of-
sale.
The blood of gingers.
It really is one of the best flavors of seltzer.
It
It's so good.
Real good.
Blood Wars
Chris,
pod.
what are you drinking? Is it blood?
It is not blood. Although a small anecdote, but the Cedars, like well into their adulthood, like were not familiar with blood oranges, and it like almost caused like a fight between them. It's very funny.
Wait,
I
what?
a
thought
very
this was
funny
going in
story.
a very different direction.
Was I there for this?
No, this is like pre-children, I think. So you were
Incredible.
definitely not there.
Okay,
for
but now
this.
you have to tell the story.
So like apparently they were like at a restaurant, and like why this almost caused a fight, I have no idea. Kate asked me to tell the story and she's not paying attention. She's just waving at the cat, just so everybody's aware.
I can listen
To
and
be fair,
look at
Tony's the
Tony.
size of a small child.
He
This is
is.
true.
Look at him.
There you go,
Much bigger than a blood orange.
A child not the size of a tangerine. Go on.
Anyway, they were at a restaurant, and like my dad is like super fucking picky, like in case people want to know why I'm like this. And he got a dessert that had I think it was literally just like orange sorbet. Like it was something boring like that. and it comes out and it's fucking red. And my dad also
Oh no.
absolutely despises confrontation, whereas my mother is very confrontational. She would never say that, but she is.
She doesn't listen to the pod anymore, and that's an okay thing right now.
Yep. And so she was like, send it, and she was like, that's not orange. And he was like, it's fine, I'll just eat it. And she's like, send it back. And he's like, it's fine. And she's like, send it back. And then
God,
he
your
takes
mom-
a bite.
Your mom is so white. Holy fuck.
He takes a bite, and it was blood orange sorbet.
Sure.
That's the punchline.
Your
That's
mom
the whole
is
thing.
But blood
so
orange
white.
doesn't taste that different from orange. So did
No,
he
it's
already know?
it tasted like, well, he hadn't tasted it when they were having said fight
But
because
did
she
he know
wanted
that
him to
blood
send it
orange
back.
was a thing?
No, I don't think that he did.
So white.
I think that's the point. I don't think they realized, or at least it was not top of mind, that blood orange was a thing.
Chris, you got to stop playing
Wow.
with your microphone cord. I'm
The
going.
bay is
to
very
start
different.
What is very different? I'm sorry.
The bay, like just the idea of someone go because I don't know, maybe it's just because there's so I feel like maybe I may be making everything up here, so please eject me from the pod, but
Sorry. In my head, I was like, Bay Staters, like Massachusetts. Like I was very
No.
confused. No, this
Oh
is
my
back
God.
when they were in
sorry,
LA.
my coworkers are I have a bunch of coworkers from various San Francisco, Oakland areas, and they all keep saying the Bay, and now it's permeated my language.
Oh
I'm
no,
just
that's
realizing,
you're 100% right. I was just confused because
in
I'm
New
me.
England, we have blood orange everywhere, maybe just in Massachusetts, but I think it's because there's such a high Italian population, because blood orange is in so many Italian
Mm.
things, and also you can get mascarpone at the normal supermarket.
That's
it's
awesome.
all the Italian stuff is there, so maybe that's why we all have access to it. It was a
Interesting.
super fancy thing. They'd go on sale in winter when they were in season.
I also feel like it's probably a generational thing where like your parents are boomers. Have they ever even heard of salt? Not Wonder Bread.
White
Like,
boomers with that.
I can see
I'm
it
gonna
happening.
refrain from saying unkind things about my mother's cooking, but but no, I mean I don't know. Now I want to know if we have any listeners who are familiar with Los Angeles in the 80s and 90s. Tell us if blood oranges were prevalent or not.
Jess.
Prevalent?
Oh, your parents are
Prevalent.
from LA. I'm sorry. I missed.
I mean, no, that's how dare you not have my entire family timeline committed to memory, Rana. Thought we were friends. Jesus.
I don't feel in any way guilty.
First
so
you're not Team Tall, now this.
Okay, just so everyone has context here, I am Team Tall. Chris sent a fucking Fox News screenshot, and then thought we were all gonna pass by the fact that it was Fox News just because he was talking shit about short people. Yeah. Anyways, Chris, what
To
do
be
you
clear, just so everyone's clear, this was a group chat in which Kate is a member. And the
You
screenshot
fucking-
was short people more likely to be psychopaths.
And you know what? We are. Okay?
Hey,
Guys, I've got
Chris.
that I've got that serial killer Myers-Briggs, okay?
What are you
INTJ?
Speaking of a nice
Everyone I love
Chianti.
is an INTJ. Perfect.
Hee hee. I'm just, it's fine. Anyway, moving right along.
I'm scared of all of y'all, except for Miranda. Sorry, Miranda.
Just so everyone knows, before we started recording, Keek said that she was no longer scared of anyone. So it didn't last long.
It was a glorious 10 minutes for Kristen. Really opened her eyes.
Yep, it's just really freeing, and now she's back.
Chris, did you say what you were drinking, or am I stupid?
No, I didn't. I got caught up on blood oranges. I am
Cool.
drinking Rittenhouse Rye out of, I don't fucking know.
Good talk.
Yep.
Great.
Cool.
Is it at Philadelphia?
I don't know,
Since
let's
it's
find out.
Rittenhouse? That's a thing.
I don't.
It is out of Heaven Hill Distillery, which is... Don't fucking make me put my birthday. It's taking so long.
This is why you listen to our pod, right?
This is
The child.
quality.
The quality sounds of Chris just banging on his keyboard, laptop keyboard.
Our distillery.
Holy
Why
fuck,
not
that's
just
like
look
shit.
at maps?
Heaven Hill Distillery, established 1935 at the historic intersection of 17th Street and Breckenridge Street in downtown Louisville.
Cool. Fuck me, right?
That was so worth waiting minutes for.
It was. I wonder why it's called that then. Wild.
Oh my
It's
good
almost like there
lord.
might be multiple people, including one notable piece of human shit.
Yeah, I
with
was
that last
gonna, I
name.
was gonna bring it up, but we were talking about Fox News.
Ba-doop, boop, boop, boop. Anywho,
Rittenhouse Rye, undeniably the superior Rittenhouse.
great. Burb, what's our charity?
Our charity is Black and Pink National. Is it Black and Pink National? Their URL is Black and Pink. You can find them at blackandpink.org. It's a prison abolitionist organization dedicated to abolishing the criminal punishment system and liberating LGBTQIA2 Spirit Plus people and folks living with HIV and AIDS who are affected by that system, the criminal punishment system, because it's garbage, through advocacy, support, and organizing.
Hell yeah. Give them money.
Yeah.
Do it.
Alright.
Rittenhouse Rye is produced in the tradition of the classic Pennsylvania rye whiskeys. That's why it's called that.
That's-
Oh, hey, there you go.
Huh.
I wasn't wrong all the way. It
The
is
more you
called
know.
that because of Pennsylvania something something.
I appreciate your need to be right. I understand it.
I was unaware that
Reference it.
Pennsylvania had a grand rye distilling tradition.
It's
Listen, Keeks is like
mono.
made of. Keeks is like 50% Jersey trash and 50% Philly trash, and therefore she had to be
Oh,
correct about
that's
this.
right. I forgot about that.
I am.
Forgot about
That's
the Philly
I,
influence.
those are the only things that I need to be
How
right.
are you not more
about.
aggressive as a person? Jersey and
It's
Philly.
it's the trauma.
Yeah, but we have like Kate and I have trauma. We're very aggressive.
It's different trauma.
Listen, you have two reactions to trauma. You become a turtle, or you just. What the fuck is
Or
that?
become a snapping turtle.
That's right.
Raccoon.
Yes. I'm a
I was gonna say,
turtle.
what the fuck is that
Thank
Pokemon who
you.
punches people?
Hitmonchan?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I did not know that.
Machop.
That's who I was thinking of, Miranda.
Why? My brain did that. I don't. You're a Squirtle or it.
So we allegedly read Star Wars this week, and there is a lot of wild shit happening.
Yeah, I felt the need to write all of this out. So we don't typically do plot recaps because that is not a thing we do. But
It was very
fact that-
confusing.
yeah, so there was just a lot of reveals and shifting loyalties and stuff. So yeah, no, Ronin's out here trying to destroy the Sith, even though he is a Sith and is still definitely using his Sith powers to do so. The witch is out here trying to destroy the Ronin, and so is Koru. Even though we kind of get in this section a little bit more of her humanity, as it were, her zombie person humanity. We'll talk about that more in a hot second. Ikea is she just wants her like weird little soul packed kyber crystals back. She's so tired. GA, we find out, has been just double crossing everybody this entire time and working for Lord Hanrai because she seems to have it out for organized force users, but also she hates the Sith more than the Jedi, so here we are.
She seems like an angry old lady, and I love that for her.
Yes. I mean, honestly, like, my dream is to one day just be that old lady on a porch in the rocking chair, just being like, get off my lawn. So, yeah, I aspire to be her when I
Big
grow
Kate
up.
vibes.
So the Traveler / Fox / we learn their name is Idzuna. They kind of seem mostly like they want to exist outside of the Jedi Sith binary, at least on the surface. Again, we will come back to that. Hanrai just feels like he wants to overturn kind of what it means to be a Jedi when he asks the Ronin to like kind of come on as second in command, but also he would love to be in power. So yeah, that's about where we're at really. In terms of character loyalties, etc. So
We're
Yeah,
doomed.
and I feel like all of that was kind of unveiled in like a real short amount of time. It had been like 3 weeks since I read the first part of this book, and so I was reading this, and I didn't know what was happening. I was so confused.
you know, Star Wars be like that sometimes.
There was a lot going on. Like everyone's just angry about everything, which is fair because it's Star Wars.
Also, same
Yeah, I was gonna say.
about like my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, who do we want to dig into first here? I don't even know. Chris, I feel like you wrote a lot of these like follow up.
I would say the Ronin or the Traveler / Fox / Idzna. All right, let's go with the Ronin.
the book is named after him. Yes.
Famously, yes, the titular role, if you will.
I despise you.
Titular role.
So he's interesting because like it's not entirely clear, at least until like kind of the end of this section, exactly what his motivations are, and that's like something that comes out of the Visions short, where like he's this very mysterious wandering character, and you don't know why he has a bag full of kyber crystals, and you don't know why he like hates the Sith so much, even though he has a red lightsaber. But it's what we know so far, at least going into the section, is that he wants to use his Sith powers to destroy the Sith. And what we learn more now, it was a little bit implied, but what we learn explicitly is that he used to be a Jedi. He was very good, and then he realized that the Jedi are fucking stupid, which, like, you know, stop us if you've heard that before. But in this,
He's got a point,
On our
folks.
Force Pod?
yeah, in this alternate universe that isn't kind of the Jedi we know, he has some legitimate grievances, and it's kind of an interesting subversion of Star Wars's obsession with oh my god, why can I not remember the director's name? The Japanese director famous for samurai stuff. Kurosawa. Thank good lord. I need to eat. It's kind of an interesting subversion of like the Kurosawa ethos of and the samurai were from a nobler time and protected the land, and Seven Samurai being made into 7 different iterations in Star Wars and like all this shit. And so it's because the Ronin is very much like the feudal system that we live in is stupid. The Jedi / samurai ethos is stupid. You're expecting people to die for nothing, for no reason other than their lord has told them to, which is not an incorrect analysis of the feudal system in Japan during the time of the samurai. And so it's just, I don't know, I find that kind of subversion of everything that George Lucas based Star Wars off of very interesting.
It's big Zuko, my honor vibes.
I mean, I think there were some notes in there too about and we did see Koro also was a Jedi, I think, as a baby. And it seems like all the Sith were until they were like, yo, fuck this. But there's I think this is taking a look at the just how dogmatic the Jedi are in general, like in actual canon, you know, especially during like the Skywalker era, you know, Yoda's a fucking asshole and he's got that going for him. But you know, they're very, you know, like this is the this is the way. That's not what they say, but those are the vibes. Um like we do this because this is how we do this. And the Jedi we see here in Ronin, it's like a perversion of that, where it's the the Jedi are still like very dogmatic. It's still like this is the way, but it's not the way. Except it's like there's more personal gain, like the weird ass Jedi feudal system, which exists and is very funny to me.
I just want to point out. So Burb wasn't here last week again because of the aforementioned technical difficulties, and I really loved how I woke up from my nap, and I had a text from Burb being like, "Oh, this is an alternate universe."
I was very confused.
It was really good.
I had looked at I think I finished reading this section too and went and looked at the outline from last time, and a lot of things made a lot more sense.
That's why everyone should listen to our pod.
Only
I
the
will say
people
that,
on
like, if it makes you feel any better, when I read the first section and I didn't fully realize this is an alternate universe, I just kind of assumed it was one of those things where space is so expansive that, like, just like how in our own world, lots of things have been changed in narrative, or like people come in and ruin everything and kill everybody, and then they're like, that didn't happen. There's nothing that's ever happened here. And
There's
that's
no
kind of
war
just
in
what I
Bossing
assumed had
Say.
happened. Yeah, I was like, oh, it's
precisely.
that's fine. It dropped out of the ethos somehow, like. But
Y'all
so
are
don't worry,
lucky
Barb,
I'm
I can't judge
producing
that.
this podcast instead of reading this book, because it would have been we would have had to do a whole extra episode of you guys having to explain to me what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, you might have lost it during the scene in the cavern where everybody just started doing wild shit. You had to figure out what the teams were, because they were not the teams they went into the cavern with.
It's true.
The teams did change. The number of living things changed. It was weird.
And the number of not living
POVs.
but still living things changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lots of zombies in this one.
Yeah, I did
Space
not. I
zombies.
did not go into this expecting this many zombies. Yeah, that's all I got. Honestly, I was
You're
just
on
like,
your
oh,
Last of Us kick. Like, it just kind of
yeah.
resonates with everything in your brain.
oh yeah, no. I mean, it's the funny thing is, I am fucking terrified of zombies, and yet I am like such a ginormous fan of zombie things. There was a 10-year period of my life where like the only nightmares I had were about zombies, kind of like closing in on
I have
me.
zombie dreams all the time, Kate. Still,
is why we're
as an
friends.
adult. Like, I
Yeah,
grew
yeah,
up, like, I went through a whole zombie phase. Like, my dad used to use this, like, it's not trauma, I promise. It's, like, totally normal. My dad used to, like, try to get me to be prepared for something terrible happening, some sort of, like, disaster, by having me plan for, like, if there was a zombie apocalypse. I was, like, 5. And he would always be like, what do you know, it's like, because if you can plan for that, you can plan for anything, right?
That's true.
And in real life, if there were zombies, I would die. The best case scenario was I would live for 2 years. My inhaler would expire. Done. But anyways, I still have those dreams all the time, Kate. Especially the pandemic, like, triggered them. So I used to have them like once a year. And then I had so many dreams about zombie stuff connected to COVID that were like, if we all wear a mask, we won't get zombies. And then like, if we just get the vaccine, it's like, yeah, these are real dreams I've had, people. So anyways, I interrupted you to talk about myself because half white, but that, just saying, resonated with me.
Oh no. Don't worry. I was not saying anything important. I just I'm
The
afraid
thing
of
about
zombies.
the force zombies too, is I like that I feel like having an alternate universe for the galaxy, like there's a lot of opportunity to do more weird force shit
Mm-hmm.
and like weird force necromancy. Who
Yes.
says no?
I am obsessed with the lightsaber auxiliaries. Like, that is so fucking cool. I was like, I had to like go on Wikipedia for some fucking reason. I think I had to like look up something because I forgot somebody's name in like the first third of the book because COVID gave me brain fog. Thanks a lot, everybody. Anyway, and there was like a page from Chris. Did they adapt this into a graphic novel or something like that, or a comic, or
Not that I'm aware, but I could be wrong.
either way? Well, it looked like a page from like an adaptation of this into like a graphic novel or something, and they just had some examples of like lightsaber fans and shit like that. And I was just like, this is the fucking best thing I've ever seen. So, anywho, but yeah, I'm here for weird for shit for sure.
So let's talk about one of the other main characters then. Let's talk about Itzna or Fox or the Traveler,
Fox.
whatever you want to call them.
Well, obviously, the most important thing to know is that they really love their cat that they get back.
They do love the cat.
I love the cat.
They are a cat person. There's no question.
Yeah, zero doubt.
Just the descriptions of like, this person continues to hold the cat against them. First of all, the fact that the cat is not like fighting to get away when there's all these loud noises and shit happening because the ship is literally breaking apart. Amazing. And also, I was like, Tony was right by me when I was reading it, and my heart just got so full.
Yeah.
I just pictured Tony as I pictured the cat as orange. I don't remember if there was an actual description.
I pictured the cat as Tony as well, even though I've never met Tony and I rarely even see photos of Tony. So maybe there's something there.
You should follow us on Instagram.
A lot of Tony pictures to be had for sure.
He's up to no good.
I also
Twist.
love
He's a
the
cat.
way that I'm sorry, my brain just also melted and I completely forgot the name of this character, the Traveler.
Yes.
The way the microaggressions is I can only remember the English word apparently. So yay, colonialism. But I like the descriptions of the Traveler and how they interact with their settings, like when they're in the cave and they're holding the like gaseous lights.
Yes.
Massachusetts accent came out there. And just like the way that they interact with everything I found really interesting. As a side note, I think this author writes, we talked about this before, but I just think that she writes setting really, really well. Just really beautiful descriptions. And also we found out what this character looks like in this, which was interesting.
Yeah, I did not, for whatever reason, I mean, maybe this is just what my brain is primed to do, did not expect them to be non-human, so that was fascinating, I thought.
Yeah.
There's not
I
a
was
ton of
fine with them
non-humans in
being-
this book.
Mm.
In your defense.
I'm
Fair
cool with
enough.
them being non-human. The gripe I have with it is not related to this book, but rather the fact that in Star Wars, so many of the alien species are so similar looking to humans that they could be mistaken for human as long as they're wearing a mask. It's, that's my one little Star Wars gripe. Like,
I mean,
shame
if
it
you
all be
think that's
organic
bad,
matter.
never watch
It's
Star
fine.
Trek.
Oh, of course I've seen Star Trek. It's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna mute.
Star Trek, literally, they just like paint their skin different colors, and they're like, "We're different species." It's like the
Or they
one
give
thing
them a
that modern
third
Star
boob,
Trek still
famously.
does that makes me mad because they're like, "It's an homage to old Star Trek," and I'm like, "No, old Star Trek had a $2 makeup budget. You can do better."
I want, I just 500 tribbles stacked together inside of a trench coat. That's what
Yes.
I want.
Yes.
Anywho, yeah. So I know, Chris, you kind of wanted to dig into like what their motivation is because like on the surface kind of seems like they're, they like to put on this like air of being a free spirit, and the way they're attuned to the force, I agree, Rana, is like really interesting. But we learned that they used to be an apprentice of Lord Henry, and there is a lot of bad beer blood still between
Yeah,
There's
and not like
some trauma there.
not just an apprentice, but like the apprentice,
Right.
like the one who like, this is me reading a little bit into it, but like Lord Heinrich doesn't have children. Like it seems like he kind of saw Itzna as a surrogate child almost.
Yeah, I mean they talk about the Jedi clans being like hereditary to a certain extent, so like clearly this was the handpicked successor for sure. So
Yeah, and one thing that I find very interesting is because Kate, you said that they seem to want to just exist outside of the Jedi Sith binary, and I think that's fair to an extent. Although one thing that was very striking to me is how ambivalent they actually seem to feel about Jedi versus Sith until Hanrai gets in the picture. And as soon as Hanrai shows up, Itzna tenses up. Itzna becomes very afraid. Like they basically tell the Ronin to run. Like when Hanrai confronts them, he's like, "You're not going to win this. You need to leave."
they
They, excuse me,
what the fuck?
my bad. That's on me. And they also
This is hate crimes pod.
that they also, when in the scene at the end of the section that we read, where it's like the scene right before / right after Hanrai gets killed for the first time,
For the first time.
and Zombie Wars pod,
Yeah.
and they kind of show the most emotion they've shown throughout, because their character is very aloof and they don't really like, they're very playful and don't really show their hand at all, and both figuratively and literally, because they cheat at games. But when Hanrai gets in the picture, they get very upset, and like Hanrai is like, what did I ever do to you? Like, did I ask too much? And like Itsuno is like, yes, you did. This is your fault. You told me to do something that I was not okay with, and that's why we're here. And so that to me was, we're going to learn much more about that, but like that was very revealing to me about what kind of person they actually are.
Is murder a little too much to ask?
I mean, for the
lots-
Jedi?
Is
Yeah, not
lots
for
of
these,
murder
like,
a little
Jedi
too much to
feudal shit.
ask for feudal Jedi? Also, like, I don't know, the thing with Fox is like they're aloof and fun and weird and like, you know, cool uses and interpretations of the Force, and they've got all this stuff going for them, and like, the Traveler guys is like pretty cool. But if we assume, because we have seen this with other characters, that all Force sensitive folks are in the Jedi as little babbies after they get torn away from their families, um, like clearly they showed when they were still a Jedi, like promise for Hanrai to be like, oh yes, this shall be my successor, and like taking that with who they've become, like some shit clearly went down. Like, they're aloof for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um and also, I think, and maybe we'll see more of this and get more background, but Hanrai is just like some feudal Jedi lord, like, yeah, just kill these people. Just very not in tune with um how, honestly, like how his actions and decisions affect other people. Like, it's got to be real traumatizing to be a child and be asked to murder people. And we see earlier in this section too, like the little guardians that accompany Hanrai and Ko to the caverns. It's like very much assumed that they're probably gonna fucking die. Like all these little baby Jedi, these teens are being used as pawns. Like, there's no regard for their lives. So, I don't know. It makes sense that they're like this.
Oh, for sure. And it has to feel especially bad just because Henry really styles himself as like the kindly father for all of these people. And when somebody who's supposed to protect you asks you to just like fling yourself at some shit, and you're not gonna make it, that maybe fucks you up a little bit.
Just a little bit.
There was also that like kind of disturbing, it was only in like 2 sentences, where when Chie is running with the group of kids and Kuru sees them and she says like, what, these are Jedi children and not all of them can run, like what are you talking about? And then there's like a 2 sentence thing about, oh, sometimes force sensitive kids who can't physically escape and like have, I assume, disabilities, are trained and then like have some other position as guardians, which to me sounds like they're just kind of like the first people to go if something happens. That was wild to me.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, it's not quite eugenics, but it's like, it was disturbing. And it was just like 2 sentences, but it was a dark edition.
It's not that.
I mean, and it's very feudal, right? Like they are. I mean, I say it's very feudal. It's also very modern warfare as well. Like you have the grunts who you know are going to die first, and that's who you send in, and they're the ones who you have the most of. And in your heart of hearts, if you're a strategist or a commanding general, you know that they are just bodies to throw at a problem. And then you've got, like your special forces, your, whatever different branches of military are going on in whatever universe you're living in. But like at the end of the day, it's about bodies, and that's what it seems like the Guardians are to me. And that, I mean, I think also speaks to kind of the Jedi ethos in this universe of like, say what you will about the canon Jedi throwing Padawans into the Clone Wars because they needed more commanders, but like they didn't do this. They weren't like, you kind of suck. You're going to the front lines,
Yeah, and there's something to that too. Is with the feudal system we see here in this universe, like some Jedi are very much in positions above the rest, and not like I'm a master, I'm on the council. Like I'm in charge of this planet, and there's a couple folks I like and will keep around, some other Jedi, and then like we're just raising you kids for slaughter. Good luck. Don't get trauma.
The way that I just did not expect to empathize with Koru as much as I did, like going into this section, just like like seeing all this stuff like from her perspective, and also her just being like, I've lived this and it was fucking terrible, and you know what, the Sith may not have been perfect, but at least they they took care of me. Like that's really real.
I love their perspective in this. In the first section that we read, I thought they were just really fun. I was like, oh, cool. This is a very
Mhm.
spiteful character, like fueled by hatred. Love it. Love to read a character like that. Don't necessarily want to resonate with that. Sometimes I do. But, like, for the most part, it was like, okay, fun. And then in this section, totally what you just said. I thought the perspective that Kuru adds was fascinating. The way that she talks about her own experience and like views becoming a Sith as this opportunity, and like as if her life got so much better. Like I feel like usually we see this all from like at best a neutral but usually a Jedi perspective when we read Sith in these books, and it's very like, oh, anger is powerful because you can kill more people and acquire more power. But seeing it as, oh, you don't have people tell you exactly what you're allowed to feel and you can think for yourself. Yeah, I'm sure it's a slippery slope, but I really enjoy that perspective in this. And I just think, like I talked in our first section, I love anything that kind of makes the characters in the Star Wars universe a little bit less godlike and
Mhm.
more messy human bullshit. Um, and I totally agree with you, Kate. I felt like, wow, that is a really great perspective that I'm gonna think about. And I also like it so much more than like what we see in a lot of the Skywalker saga of like the what is it, the rule of two, like over and over and over again. Um, and it's always like the same Sith story of like, oh, and then they killed their master, and then they killed their master. And it's like, okay, I get it. Um, and so seeing this in this other like liberatory framing is really interesting for sure.
Yeah, and there's a lot in this book too about how, like for the Sith we get, a look into their minds. It's very like the Jedi are bad actually. And for Koru, there's a section where, talking about anger, like when she was taken by the Jedi, like it wasn't she was, told she had to feel a certain way. Like they used the force, and she didn't actually get to feel her feelings until she went to the Sith and became a little Sith baby, and finally was like, "Oh, I can be angry now," considering that, my ability and freedom to have any emotions has been just stripped from me for so many years, because The Jedi do what they want.
Yeah.
The other perspective that I thought was interesting that was similar, and again, it's like a 2-sentence moment, was when the Ronin thinks about how the guard is asking questions and the guard is young, and so he says like to himself, "Oh, the inquisitive ones never make it very far." Um and one, it's interesting because it's like a not dichotomy, but like it's such a polar opposite from the introduction to that character. Not the Ronin, but what's his name? Yuhiro. Yuhiro in there's like a 2-page little brief introduction to that character in the last section. Didn't know what was gonna happen with that. Now we know. But also I just love that idea of like anytime that we turn it on its head a little bit, and instead of saying, "Oh, the Jedi are like the best of the best," like we've always been, even when we just read all this High Republic stuff. Oh, people are like the Jedi. Wow, they're so brilliant, amazing. You have to be so smart to be a Jedi. I love that this is like, well, if you're really thinking outside of the box, you're not going to get as far as you want to because you have to be following instructions. I don't know. I just felt like that was another sort of framing of amongst that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think especially with the leadership structure there too, with it so much more focused on like, you don't have like your master training you. You have like your master that you serve. And if you start asking questions and questioning authority, Hamrai's gonna throw you at the zombies.
And you're gonna have a bad time. One of the other like bittersweet things I feel like that really I find compelling about Cora's character is that she's dead, and she's having this whole and she's not that old. She's having this whole almost like awakening, like coming of age thing about just like what does life look like beyond just living, beyond vengeance, and I don't know where that's going to go because she's dead. So, um, yeah, I'm so intrigued by her and what's going to happen to her. So, yeah.
And the unique thing about her as well is that she's dead, but she is still wholly herself. Like the other reanimated Jedi, not that she is a Jedi, but the reanimated Jedi
Zombies.
are very specifically referred to as puppets. Even Hanrai, to an extent, is more of a messenger than anything else, because like he comes back and is like, she would like to extend an invitation, she being the witch who is uh reanimating these corpses. And so that's very interesting to me as well, that adds to her uniqueness, that she is fully self-aware in a way that I don't think everyone else is.
Do we find out if that's because of like the kind of person she is, or if the witch like quote unquote let her?
Do you want me to answer that?
No, like, do we find out?
Yes.
Okay, that's my question. The question is there more information? Please say yes.
Spoil the rest of the book for us right now.
Yeah, no, actually, this is ultimate spoiler pod. We're just gonna tell you how the rest of the book goes.
Well, you see, somehow Palpatine returns.
Oh my fucking god!
He's got unlimited power.
Chris, are you not going to put the sound effects that you put into our document for the pod?
Yes. Burb wrote unlimited power when I followed it up with bzz, bzz, zap, zap.
That's for
Fucking
the
Christ.
Force lightning.
This
Where's
is the
that
quality
sound?
that you've come to
Zap, zap.
expect from Book Wars Pod.
Wow. Chris, you want to talk a little bit about this little triumvirate of characters and like between the Ronin and the Traveler and Henry? Yes.
I did.
I thought you wrote this point.
Um.
Who wrote?
Oh, yeah, I did. Hey.
You wrote this literally 5 minutes before we start recording. Fuck me.
So this is like, kind of just thinking about like, my question is always like, how does this relate back to the universe as a whole? And obviously that's a weirder question for this one than usual because it is an entirely different universe. But I kind of just wanted to discuss like, who do these characters remind us of? And I ask that specifically because to me, and it's somewhat ironic because the Ronin is a Sith, he really reminds me of Disney Plus era Obi-Wan. Like,
I just want to say,
I-
I feel like we all had very different reactions to who these people reminded us of, and I'm really interested in that. Anyway, go on.
yeah, no, I like let's get into it. Like, to me, the reason that I like you feel this sense of living his failures and not being able to rest until he like gets through that, and knowing that that means he's probably never going to be able to rest. And that, it is very kind of Obi-Wan dealing with the fact that once he realizes that Anakin is alive, that he knows he's never going to be able to go back to the way he's been because he fucked this up, and he feels this responsibility. You know, he feels like Vader is his failure, and it feels somewhat like the Ronin, feels like the Sith are his failure, and he's not going to be able to live a life and doesn't even want to until he's able to reconcile that. And so that's I saw that kind of almost kinship between them in how they handle their, the burdens of their past actions.
Although I will say Obi-Wan commits a lot less murder. As far
It's
as
only
we
because
know,
he was fighting
on
droids.
Disney Plus.
What did other people think?
I was like, are you
I thought
done?
Akia reminds me a little bit of Kate.
And then she's just done. She's just so
And then
done.
she's small and
she's
angry.
so done with everything. I did forget she was small, but like her just like, I'm pissed off at everything, but also like I'm just gonna get shit done. And if you complain, I'm gonna kick your ass. But not really, because I don't really know if I can. But I'm gonna talk a lot of shit. Like that, no offense, Kate. But like that's totally her character, right? She's like threatening like the Sith who has her kidnapped. Like she's just pissed
love
off.
that. I just
Yeah, the Kate, there are a couple moments where I was like, also I put it for later, but she has the quote where she refers to Fox's reaction as throwing a force-based trauma fit, and you can't tell me that's not something that Kate would say.
It is. If I, forgot, if I haven't said that on the pod in the past, I will eat my dog. I
Poor Orca. That's the second time today Kate has said that I'm aware of, for the record.
Listen,
She's real hungry.
insert joke about Chinese people here.
She said that, and Orca's head just like popped up.
Good boy.
Well, we were saying in our Ho chat that Orca would probably like to be eaten because
He
he'd be
would.
the closest he could ever get.
I know, he just wants to be so close to me. He'd be like, "This is like the ultimate hug, is my mother engulfing me." There's something Greek going on there, but anyway.
It's like the Family Guy scene. A part of me is inside
of
you.
Wow, I understand that quote very differently, and we won't elaborate on it.
I mean, it's got levels, you know.
I don't. Anyway, what I was gonna say was, Ikea was the best to me when she was just. I was like, you are really just gonna talk back to Cora. Cora's just standing there, like there are just corpses in the corner, and she's just like, I just want to take a fucking nap. Jesus Christ! Like she's just like, you brought me on these like hijinks. I'm not into it. Like I didn't sign up for any of this. I didn't sign up for like this flavor of weird force shit. Like I just, I feel that. Go back to Chris's question about who do these characters remind me of in actual canon. So
Sorry,
for me,
got derailed.
oh, you're great. You're doing great. So for me, I felt like the Ronin was almost like if Anakin weren't a feral fucking raccoon. Just because like he's just he joins the Sith or forms the Sith or whatever for overall like altruistic reasons. Like he wants self-determination, he wants freedom, he wants to protect these people, which is exactly why Anakin goes over to the dark side, is so that he can protect people that he loves. Whereas like the Traveler is kind of like that itinerant lost Padawan, kind of like in this gray area, like Ahsoka. And Henry's just like Palpatine being like, join me doing evil shit and you'll be in charge, Sonny boy, except I will actually. Haha. So,
It's not evil. It's for the good of everybody.
oh yeah, absolutely. Just it's for the good. It's for the good of the
Bring
Jedi.
order to the galaxy.
Exactly. So that was my take. Did other folks have other?
Well,
I did not think too hard about this at all.
the only two in universe not making jokes about all of us that I have is one is just very broad, and I just think that like there's so often this character in Star Wars of like, now you live with your fate, or like your consequences will predict your entire life and you can't be happy about it. And I just think we see that in the Ronin for sure.
Mhm.
And then this is such a weird reference, and I don't even know the name of this character, but Hanrai reminds me a little bit of the like family leader in the first Thrawn book that we read, who's like talking about like who to accept into the family, and like very manipulative, but also way too like has all the resources that he needs, and like can play the game really well and is very strategic, but also is still getting played by people he trusts at the same time. Yeah, but I don't even remember that person's name. It was a long time ago we read about the blue people, so not James
Thras, I believe
Cameron's
you're
blue
talking
people.
about.
Probably, I don't know.
I didn't have an extra. I just Googled it and I was
I'm
like,
just, I'm just laughing.
oh no, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It's Thurfion, I think that you're talking about.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
is
obviously.
Tim's on. His names are just noises. It's fine.
I have this as a later comment, but this is the first time that I've read Star Wars content and been like, oh, I'm like 99% sure of how to pronounce these names, as opposed to there's 7 different ways to pronounce them. Thank you, Japanese, for being a very phonetic language.
It sure is. They do that.
Somewhere in the Midwest, Tim's on just felt a shooting pain up and down his arm and he doesn't know why.
Oh my god! Please stop. We have this thing about. Did we talk about this yet?
No,
A little bit.
Do you
a little bit, but no. We talked about Biz Zap Zap.
Great. Do you want to save it?
Sure.
Because we're coming up on
Are we heavy?
an hour.
Oh hey, what do you know
Yeah.
about that?
I could sleep.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Chris and I haven't actually eaten dinner yet, so now I'm drunk. One last like tiny sidebar that I want to make before we wrap up this episode is that I was reading a Q&A or part of a Q&A with the author, and one of the things that the interview was saying was that so we get the white flare and the black current of the Force, and what Candon wanted to do with that is make an analogy equivalency with like yin and yang, which I thought was a really cool concept. Yeah, because like as I see people be like, yeah, I didn't realize
Sorry,
that
I was
either.
muted,
Honestly,
but I was saying that's really cool. I didn't know that.
yeah, something I didn't. Honestly, I didn't really notice myself until I had read that. So I thought I just wanted to bring that up. So for people who are unfamiliar, like you've probably seen a yin yang symbol, and I think a lot of like Westerners kind of think of it as an opposing thing. So like yin is like masculine energy, like action oriented, like super kinetic, whereas yang is like supposed to be like feminine energy, more like flowing as opposed to being explosive. Um, but really like the whole idea is that like the like in actual like Asian culture is that these two things are supposed to be in balance and one exists in the other. So you see the yin and yang symbol and like you've got the white and the black, but you can see that there's a black dot in the white and vice versa. And so it's like these things are, they're supposed to work together. And so it's just something I enjoyed noticing once I read that was who favors the white flare and who favors the black current, and what that says about their character. Like Horu is a character who says like I can't use the black current at all, which I think is like says a lot about her character and the violence and her impulsiveness and all this other stuff. Anyway, something to just like look out for in the third section. Maybe we'll talk about this more. Maybe we won't, but I thought it was cool.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
I really love that point, and we're definitely going to talk more about it because we want to talk more about like kind of the Jedi and how they, other than just being worse, how they differ philosophically from canon Jedi. But one thing I love that the author did here is that sense of balance that is unlike the George Lucas balance of if everything's good, then it's balanced. Like, it is balance in the true sense of, like, there isn't good and evil. There's no light side and dark side in this. Like, the black current and the light flare, is it?
The white flare and the
The
black
white
current.
flare and the black current.
Mhm.
They aren't equivalent to light side and dark side. Like,
Mhm.
the Jedi don't all use the white flare. The Sith don't all use the black current. And so, and I we'll talk more about it, but I really loved that aspect of it, and I think that's a really good point you brought up, Kate.
It's fucking cool. Anyway,
It's awesome. I have a shitpost point that's not related
Please.
to anything important. This is so random, but it is related to the book. And that is that in the section that Chris already noted, where Hanrai says she would like to extend an invitation, I was listening. Normally, I listen to like classical music while I read, but this one time I was like, I was in a mood. I was like, oh, I'll listen to like some lo-fi. And the song I was listening to, as it said she would like to extend an invitation, had this background voice that said, "Must I?" in a woman's voice, "Must I extend an invitation?" As I read that, and I was like,
Illuminati.
"Is the witch real?
that's
Space
spoopy.
Illuminati.
Oh,
Did
The
you-
witch is real."
Did you re-listen to the song to make sure that that voice was actually in
Yes, yes, I've heard it before.
it?
Yes, I've heard it before. But I was like, oh, it was like creepy. It gave me
That's
goosebumps.
cool.
That's my shit post for you all.
I
If
love
my
it.
life doesn't count as a shit post.
Oh dear.
I love it. Well, that will take us to the end of this week's episode.
Hey,
Thank
you're
you
not
so
taking
much.
us out.
Oh,
He always does.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know that.
I'm
Never
not
mind.
taking us
I thought
out.
it was Perb.
I was gonna say
sorry.
I didn't think I was last time either, and then Kate said to take us out, so I just figured
I'm
that's.
so sorry. I thought it was Burb. I apologize.
Listen, I was right one time. I'm holding on to this.
Wow.
Here I am micromanaging again and being wrong.
Thank you everybody for listening to episode 162 of the Book Wars Pod.
As the dog coughs to death.
The dog says, "I'm bored. This is boring. And you people are very rude." Well, we'll be back next week, finishing up Ronin, chapter 29 through to the end. But also, in the meantime, we are going to be live tweeting the season 3 premiere of The Mandalorian. Please join us, join in, like our tweets. If you don't like them, then just keep it to yourself. This Saturday, the 11th, we're going to be doing it at 6 p.m. Pacific time, so that is 9 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to be using hashtag BWP Trash Takes. So join us. There's going to be lots of talk, no doubt, about space whales and pirates and little baby Babu Fricks. It'll be great. Everyone's gonna have a great time. Bo-Katan sweatpants. The categories are endless. Our next book after this, if you want to get a jump on it, is going to be Queen's Hope by E.K. Johnston. We're very excited about that, so feel free to grab that from your local independent bookstore. And if you have the means, first and foremost, please donate to Black and Pink National. And then if you want to support us after that, donate to the Tosh Station Radio Patreon, as it helps us cover our hosting and production costs. And all new, there's so much news this outro.
I gotta get on with it.
We're adding a new tier to the Toshi Station Radio Patreon. That's right. For $1, you can still get into the Patreon Slack, but for $2, you can watch myself or Kate stream on Twitch as we fail at video
We're
games.
streaming on YouTube, bro, because Twitch hates everyone.
Stream on YouTube
Fuck.
as we play video games. Kate is going to be doing this first, streaming next Wednesday, March 15th. I say next. We'll see if this releases this week. But Wednesday, March 15th at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 10 p.m. Eastern Time also. So you have that to look forward to. Kate, have you decided what you're going to be playing?
We'll see if it's either the potato version of the Last of Us 1. I say the potato version because I don't have the pretty redone one for PS5, so it looks like a potato. Or Witcher 3. So we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Both excellent choices. Whenever I get to streaming, I'm currently working my way through God of War Ragnarok. Also, Jedi Survivor comes out in about a month and a half from now, I think is when the new date is. So that will certainly be making appearances, not on Twitch. Anyway, thank you for listening. Please also give us coffee if you can. ko-fi.com/bookwarspod. Really, that doesn't even cover our hosting and production costs. It just covers treats for Argos, Jasper, Orca, and Tony. That is our show. Thank you for listening. Our theme song is Whiz Bang by Poddington Bear. Our logo and artwork are by Joby Terror Design, and our audio and production are done by our very own Kristen McDonald. For Kate, Rana, Kristen, Miranda, and the aforementioned furry members of our various families, I am Chris. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week.
Chris, you're fucking weird.
This has to be our longest outro ever.
I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Also, Chris, I'm so sorry. I was just like, Chris just spoke over Miranda. Only I talk over people. But really...